Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is September 30th, 2025. And today we're going to be discussing everything related to tomorrow's match against PSG by talking about Hansi Flick statements, Luis Enrique statements, players, you name it. And also Lewandowski, because he has interest in Europe, not just Saudi Arabia and the MLS. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Bo, and you might be wondering why I'm doing a live video on a Tuesday when it's not a podcast day. Well, this is not a podcast. This is just a short live because today I was working all day, incredibly tired, and given that it's midnight, I didn't have time to film, edit, post. So instead, I'm bringing you this short live just to bring you all the Barcelona-related news. I'm not going to be addressing the comment section. Again, this is just to keep you informed as fast as possible because, well, I have to go back to bed tomorrow. I have another long day ahead of me, but don't worry, there will be a post-match live analysis and, of course, the podcast. Now, let's begin with the news because, of course, tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, is the big day, the first big test for Barcelona during this season because we will be facing the current Champions League winners, PSG, at the Olympic Stadium, Luis Companys. And of course, today, that team trained for one last time ahead of tomorrow's match. Now, the training was supposed to begin at 11 a.m., but instead it started at 12 because the training started late because Hansi Flick held a very long tactical talk or tactical meeting with the players where I'm sure he went over PSG's tactical plans and how to beat them, how to counter them, etc. So Flick holding a very long meeting with the players to go over tactics, which of course, that's half the battle, right? It's not just being able to play together. It's also being able to play with a game plan in place. Now, as far as the training, as you know, Alejandro Balde has been training with the team for quite some time, but he was not available for the match over the weekend against Real Sociedad. But don't worry because Balde has officially received the green light from the medical staff, which means that he will be available for tomorrow's match against PSG. Now, the question is, of course, will he start? Will he not? You know, as you know, my sense is that since he's coming back from injury, maybe not. But after all, he has been training with the team with total normalcy for quite some time. So there is a chance that he could start. I don't know. I think it would have been nicer to see him some minutes against Real Sociedad, kind of like Lamine Yamal, so then he can start tomorrow. We'll see whether it be Gerard Martin and then Balde coming on or whether it's going to be Balde from first minutes. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen down below. Now, speaking of defenders, of course, the big question is, who will Hansi Flick choose for his two center backs? Because so far, that's probably the only two positions that we still don't know who's the starter, right? We know Lewy's center forward. We know Lamine is our right winger. We know Rafinha is our left winger. We know Pedri and Frankie, right? But center backs, we've seen Pau and Araujo, Pau and Christensen, Eric and Araujo, Eric and Christensen, Araujo and Christensen. So we still don't know who our starting two center backs are. And of course, Hansi Flick was asked that during the pre-match press conference. And this is what the German coach had to say. I haven't decided on my defensive pairing. What happened in the past no longer works. Now is different. For me, it's not the same situation, and I have the utmost confidence in all my players. Araujo is an incredible player, and he's shown that in recent matches. I'm very happy with him. Now, the second paragraph, when he's saying that it's not the same situation and he has full confidence, that's, of course, because he was asked, are you going to play Araujo after what happened the last time against PSG in the Champions League? And he's saying, look, that's the past. This is a completely different situation. So he still trusts Araujo. But of course, the main point here is that Flick has yet to choose, or at least that's what he says. I'm sure he has already chosen, but as always, he doesn't reveal who they are. But Hansi Flick not letting us know who will be his defensive pairing. And reports are already stating that the defensive pairing for tomorrow could be Eric Garcia and Pau Cubarsí. And of course, my question to you is, who would you like to see in the defensive pairing tomorrow? Pau Cubarsí and Eric? Pau Garcia Araujo, Eric Christensen, Pau Garcia Christensen, Christensen Araujo. I don't know. Juan Garcia and Ter Stegen as our two center backs. That'd be hilarious. Two injured goalkeepers. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. Now, speaking of tomorrow's match, by the way, Alexander Seferin, the president of UEFA, will be in attendance for the first time since 2021. And this, of course, is a sign of the improved relationship between Barcelona and UEFA. That's thanks to Pini Zahabi. That's the agent of Robert Lewandowski and a good friend of Laporta, who's been kind of intermediary and helped rebuild the relationship between the two. So Seferin tomorrow in attendance. And here's the big one. Luis Figo, the traitor, will be back in Barcelona in attendance tomorrow. We'll see what kind of welcome the fans will have for him. Anyways, let's move on. That was just a side note because, of course, just like we discussed, actually, before we move on, I do want to discuss one quick statement by Hansi Flick that he made in regards to Lamine Yamal, which I thought was interesting because he said, for me, hyping a player up so much isn't good. We're focused on working hard. He's talented and can go very high. He can reach higher levels, but he has to work hard. It's not just about how good you are with the ball, but you also have to work defensively. So Flick sending kind of like a message to Lamine. Look, you're great. You're doing great things. You can even do greater things, but you have to work hard. And this is a very, very important reminder for Lamine because as we've seen in modern football, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you don't have the work ethic, if you don't put in the work, it's just wasted talent. So Flick reminding Lamine something very important that yes, you're talented, but you cannot just coast by with your talent. You also have to put in the work. Now let's move on to the statements of Luis Enrique because he did have pretty cool statements, of course, as a former Barcelona player and a former Barcelona coach. But Luis Enrique said, it's always wonderful to be in Barcelona because it's my home. This is the place where I lived through almost the best part of my career as a player and as a coach. It's always special to be in Barcelona with the sun, as usual. Barcelona is my city, my home. I was here for 8 years as a player and captain, and I was also a coach for several years. I can't say a single negative thing about Barcelona. I will always be grateful to them forever. When I return to Barcelona, I find many people who love me, and that's the most beautiful thing I've gained in my career, the love of the fans. And yes, we do love you, Luis Enrique. Thank you for all the amazing years you gave us, and more specifically, of course, the treble with the MSN, which, let's not forget, last year when Luis Enrique beat us in the Champions League, all of a sudden everybody, he sucks, he's a terrible coach, the only reason he won is because the MSN. And yeah, because Pep Guardiola had a bunch of bums, right? Like, it's crazy to see how ungrateful Barcelona fans are sometimes and how quickly they forget, because all of a sudden, because Luis Enrique beat us, all of a sudden he was a shit coach. He was not. He was a great coach, and well, he still remembers his time fondly at Barcelona. Now, speaking of Luis Enrique and PSG, it's confirmed the injuries that they will have tomorrow because, of course, they had a very long list of injuries. Some of them were like for sure out. Some were a doubt. We didn't know. But now it's confirmed who will be out for sure from tomorrow's match, and that's Ousmane Dembélé, Doué, Marquinhos, and Kvaratskhelia. So pretty much they're attacking trident. Kvaratskhelia, Dembélé, Doué, and Marquinhos, of course, is their captain and the leader of their defense. So definitely big losses for PSG, but Barcelona too. Of course, we won't have our goalkeepers, Juan Garcia. We won't have Coutinho. We have Fermin and Gabi also all injured. So both teams arriving in with injuries, but I think PSG probably have it worse because no Dembélé, Doué, or Kvaratskhelia. We at least still have some of our attack. You know, we still have Lamine, we still have Lewy, and Rashford is not a bad option to replace Coutinho, right? He's still adapting, but it's still a pretty good option to replace Coutinho. So I don't know. I would, of course, prefer to see Barcelona's starting 11 versus PSG starting 11 because you want to see those teams going at it 100% because they are the two best teams in Europe. But unfortunately, that's how football is. I'm pretty sure it's still going to be a great match tomorrow. Now, speaking of Lewandowski, since I did just mention his name, there is news coming out of Italy because AC Milan are interested in signing the Polish striker next summer once he becomes a free agent. Of course, assuming he doesn't extend his contract with Barcelona, which right now there is no plans to do so. And this has actually been confirmed by their sporting director, Igletare, who has confirmed that he has indeed held conversations with Pini Zahavi to try to convince Lewy to go to AC Milan once his contract is up at Barcelona. Of course, AC Milan will be competing with the likes of Saudi, who are willing to offer him €100 million salary. Absolutely insane. Anyways, where would you guys like to see Lewandowski next? Let me know down below in the comment section. That is all the news for this video. Tomorrow, PSG. Of course, I will be doing a post-match live analysis. No watch-along because I do work, but definitely post-match live analysis. And I'm so excited. So let me know down below what are your predictions for tomorrow's match. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And as always, peace, Barca.